A year ago, Mirra Andreeva has officially returned to the Roland Garros semifinals, and after what she just did to Sorana Cirstea, the rest of the draw has every reason to be concerned. Because this wasn't just a victory, it was a statement, and it may have been the clearest sign yet that the teenager is ready to challenge for her first Grand Slam title. For the past 2 years, tennis fans have watched Mirra Andreeva grow from a promising prospect into one of the most feared young players on the WTA Tour. The talent was never in question, the shot-making was obvious, the tennis IQ was extraordinary. But winning Grand Slams requires something more. It requires experience. It requires emotional control. And perhaps most importantly, it requires learning how to handle disappointment. That's why this year's Roland Garros feels so significant. Because Andreeva arrived in Paris carrying unfinished business. 12 months ago, she seemed perfectly positioned to reach the semifinals. Instead, everything went wrong. A shocking defeat ended her tournament, the dream vanished, and the experience became one of the most painful lessons of her young career. The best players learn from those moments. The greatest players use them as fuel, and judging by her performance against Sorana Cirstea, Andreeva clearly remembered every second of that disappointment. From the opening point, there was a noticeable intensity in her game. She wasn't interested in drama. She wasn't interested in complications. She wasn't interested in giving her opponent hope. She wanted complete control. And that's exactly what happened. The first set was nothing short of astonishing. Cirstea entered the match carrying momentum and confidence after producing one of the best Roland Garros runs of her career. Many expected a competitive battle. Many expected the experienced Romanian to challenge the teenager. Instead, Andreeva completely overwhelmed her. The scoreboard quickly became brutal. 1 game, then 2, then 3, then 4. The pressure kept growing. The errors started appearing, and before anyone could fully process what was happening, the set was over. 6-0. A bagel on one of the biggest stages in tennis, against a player with years of experience. That alone tells you how extraordinary Andreeva's level was. Everything seemed to be working. Her movement was exceptional. Her anticipation was flawless. Her shot selection was intelligent, and perhaps most impressively, she played with a maturity that felt far beyond her years. That's one of the most fascinating aspects of Andreeva's rise. When fans discuss young stars, they often focus on power. They focus on athleticism. They focus on highlight reel winners. But Andreeva's greatest strength might actually be her understanding of the game. She sees patterns. She identifies weaknesses. She adapts quickly. And she consistently makes smart decisions under pressure. Those qualities become incredibly valuable during Grand Slam tournaments because when matches become tense, intelligence often matters as much as talent. After the opening set, many players would have relaxed. Many would have assumed the difficult work was finished. But Grand Slam tennis rarely rewards complacency. Sorana Cirstea deserves enormous credit for refusing to disappear. The Romanian understood this could very well be her final appearance in Paris. She understood the opportunity in front of her, and she wasn't ready to let it go quietly. As the second set began, Cirstea fought harder. She raised her level. She started finding better rhythm from the baseline. She searched for ways to extend rallies and create opportunities. For a brief period, it looked like the match might become competitive. This was exactly the type of situation that could have troubled a younger version of Andreeva. Momentum shifting, an experienced opponent gaining confidence, pressure building inside a major stadium. Instead of panicking, Andreeva remained calm. Point by point, she absorbed the challenge. Game by game, she reasserted control. That's what impressed me most about this performance. Not the winners, not the scoreline, not even the dominant first set. It was the way she handled resistance. Champions aren't defined by how they play when everything is easy. They're defined by how they respond when opponents start fighting back. Andreeva's answer was simple. She played even better. Whenever Cirstea threatened to build momentum, the teenager immediately shut the door. Whenever the Romanian searched for an opening, Andreeva found another solution. The result was a convincing 6-3 second set. No drama. No collapse. No comeback. Just complete control. When the final point ended, Andreeva had secured a place in the Roland Garros semifinals for the second time in her career. And perhaps more importantly, she had erased the memory of last year's disappointment. That matters. Athletes never completely forget painful defeats. They carry them, they learn from them, and sometimes they return to the same stage determined to rewrite the story. That's exactly what happened here. The teenager who suffered heartbreak a year ago returned stronger, wiser, and more complete. Now she finds herself just one victory away from a Grand Slam final. Think about that for a moment. Mirra Andreeva is only 19 years old, yet she is already building a resume that many players spend entire careers chasing. The statistics are becoming increasingly remarkable. She is now the youngest player since Martina Hingis to reach 3 consecutive Roland Garros quarterfinals. That alone places her in elite company. Whenever a young player starts appearing alongside names like Hingis, people pay attention, because history suggests that special things often follow. But statistics only tell part of the story. The bigger picture is even more exciting. Andreeva doesn't look like a player hoping to win a Grand Slam someday. She looks like a player capable of winning one right now. That's a huge difference. The confidence is there. The shot making is there. The tactical understanding is there. And perhaps most importantly, the belief is growing with every match. Now the focus shifts to the semifinals, and what a fascinating challenge awaits. Her next opponent will come from an all-Ukrainian showdown between Elina Svitolina and Marta Kostyuk. Either matchup presents a completely different challenge. If it's Svitolina, Andreeva would face one of the most experienced and resilient competitors in women's tennis. A player who recently captured the Rome title and knows exactly how to navigate big moments. Svitolina has built a reputation as one of the toughest fighters on tour. She rarely gives away points. She rarely beats herself. And she thrives under pressure. That would be a true test of Andreeva's patience and composure. If it's Kostyuk, the challenge becomes different. The Madrid champion has explosive power and tremendous confidence. She plays aggressive tennis and isn't afraid to take risks. Against Kostyuk, Andreeva could find herself in a battle of first-strike tennis where momentum swings rapidly. Neither option is easy, but after watching Andreeva dismantle Cirstea, it's hard not to believe she will enter either semifinal feeling confident. And why shouldn't she? She has been one of the most consistent performers of the tournament. Her level continues to rise, and unlike many young players, she seems completely comfortable with expectations. That's an important point, because the deeper a player advances in a Grand Slam, the louder the conversation becomes. The media attention increases, the pressure increases, the opportunities become bigger. Some players struggle with that environment. Andreeva appears to embrace it. The bigger the stage becomes, the more comfortable she looks. That's a quality shared by many champions, and that's why so many people inside tennis believe she could become one of the defining players of her generation. The future feels incredibly bright, but what's most exciting is that this story isn't about the future anymore. It's about the present. Too often, young stars are discussed only in terms of potential. People talk about what they might achieve years from now. What Andreeva is doing forces a different conversation. She's already here. She's already competing for major titles. She's already threatening some of the best players in the world. And she's already proving she belongs on the biggest stages. Roland Garros 2026 may ultimately be remembered as the tournament where everything came together. The tournament where talent transformed into genuine championship contention. The tournament where a teenage sensation became a legitimate Grand Slam favorite. Of course, there is still work to do. One more victory is required to reach the final. One more obstacle remains. And in Grand Slam tennis, nothing is guaranteed. But if Andreeva continues playing at this level, she will be incredibly difficult to stop. Her confidence is growing. Her game is evolving. And her dream is suddenly within touching distance. 1 year after suffering one of the most painful defeats of her young career, Mirra Andreeva has returned to the same stage and produced one of her most impressive performances. Now only one question remains. Can she take the final step and reach her first Grand Slam final? Based on what we've seen so far in Paris, it would be dangerous to doubt her. Before you go, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Can Mirra Andreeva win Roland Garros 2026, or is there still someone left in the draw capable of stopping her dream run? And who would be the tougher semifinal opponent, Elina Svitolina or Marta Kostyuk? For more breaking tennis news, Grand Slam analysis, player stories, and the biggest moments from around the tennis world, stay tuned to TennisIQ.